Before I became a priest, I worked as a primary school teacher in Peterborough, where most of the children in the school happened to be Muslim. Every year when Ramadan came round, quite a lot of the children in my class would choose to fast, and I was always in awe of them, especially when Ramadan happened to fall in the summer term with its long days and warm weather, as of course it does this year. Like many people, I'm someone who enjoys my food. I have a particularly soft spot for donuts, as it happens. But try as I might, I've never really got very far with fasting. Because there is a Christian tradition of fasting too, at special times like in the run-up to Easter or when particular prayers are being said. And from some of the things that Jesus said in the Bible, it's clear that he certainly expected people to fast as part of their spiritual practice. But on the odd occasion that I've just tried to go without my lunch, I have to confess that the rumblings in my stomach have been anything but a spiritual experience. Then suddenly, 10 years ago, a simple blood test, a phone call from my doctor, and suddenly my relationship with food was changed forever. I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. It seemed that my pancreas had just decided to give up. I was sent straight home from work, having been told by my doctor that I could slip into a diabetic coma at any minute. I have to say that has to be one of the scariest journeys I've ever made. Once I got home, though, I was reassured by the calming presence of one of our community nurses who showed me how to inject insulin into my body there and then. But it was strange. I'd always been so healthy. I'd barely even stubbed a toe in my life before that. It was a lot to get my head around. Suddenly, things like eating and fasting, dealing with food, the whole of life really, became much more complicated, and 4 times a day I had to grit my teeth and stick a needle in my side. St. Paul, who was one of the early followers of Jesus and wrote some of the letters that we find in the Christian Bible, once complained of his own thorn in his flesh. We don't quite know what he was referring to, but it was clearly something in his life that he continued to struggle with. The thing is, this wasn't just a pain in the backside for Paul, a distraction from the things that he felt he ought to be doing, a kind of weakness to be overcome. He actually saw it as a gift from God. In fact, he wrote, "I will boast all the more gladly of my weaknesses, so that the power of Christ may dwell in me." Knowing his own weaknesses helped Paul to trust in God's strength. I now have an insulin pump. I'm one of the lucky ones. It's an amazing gadget that drip feeds insulin into my body all the time, and if I'm careful, I can even fast if I want to. But it also means that I have an ever-present thorn in my side, a reminder, should I ever be tempted to think otherwise, that I am not entirely self-sufficient. I am still in awe of those children in my class who took their fasting so seriously. And for myself, I will always be thankful for the grace of God and our wonderful health service, because at least occasionally I can still treat myself to one of those donuts I love so much.